One of the most surprising thing in Kenya is that the leaders that we have in Kenya, both religious and political leaders, at the current time, they do not seem to know what our country need to do, what we need to do as a country in order to get us out of this quiet that is in the country, and also that which is also affecting other parts of the world. The religious leaders, the political leaders, they don't have a clue. But the most surprising thing, I've gone through online forums, listened to very young people, very young. They don't have positions, they don't have authority, they don't have power, but they seem to get it. They know what our nation and our country need at a time like now. Even concerning the things that are happening in the world and the shift of the world order, the young people seem to be in tune with what need to be done. They have heard them expressing suggestion, disquiet that why can't our government do this? What is wrong with our religious leaders? What's wrong with them? So it looks like we have a generational disconnect, and that is fine. I've also said that in Kenya we are going to witness a new generation, the royal priesthood of people belonging to God, those who are called to declare the praises of Him who have called us out of darkness into His marvelous light. The old generation who are above 40 kwenda juu seem to be stuck in the old system of things, both religious and both in the government. They seem to be in deep sleep, have not awakened to the new timeline of the existence of mankind on earth. We're just having them toying with the old things, toying with the old system, toying with the old fashion of government, toying with the old religion, looking at ways to perfect it, to make it work, but they have not come to realize it doesn't work. Even the leaders we are having who are competing and vying for seats to be elected, they don't have any clue, they don't have any knowledge, they don't seem to know anything. They don't seem to know that Kenya and African countries do not longer require to continue with the old system of religion, the old system of education, the old system of laws of government, that with that Africa can never make it. But there are young people in the new generation who are voicing their beliefs, and I seem to agree with them. There is something that the old generation does not seem to get, that the new generation, the young people in Kenya, are in tune with, and their agitation of how our government in Kenya should be run is accurate. They seem to know. And when I look at these young people who are voicing concerns about Kenya, about our government, about the toxic religion, they seem to know. Young people in Kenya seems to know and to understand what our country needs at a time like this. They seem to know, they seem to have wisdom and understanding and knowledge of why has our nation lagged, whereby it should have provided for the requirement of the citizens of this country without doubt. There is too much wealth and resources in Kenya, but it has not been harnessed. But the old generation who are still in political seat, who are ruling, who we are campaigning for to elect back to office, they don't have a clue. They don't seem to understand anything. They don't even seem to know where does the nation like Kenya need to go, what need to be done. But the young people in Kenya, they seem to know. So I'm looking forward to a major army of young people that is going to be the dynamite that is going to bring the change that we are looking in Kenya. And I have also been calling on the young people who are aged between 18 and 35 years of old, You must come into the arena knowing that you are the chosen generation, you are the loyal priesthood, you are the holy people belonging to God worldwide. There is no other country in the world that has a awakened generation of young people than Kenya. You can go to America, you can go to China, you can go to Europe, you can go wherever Latin, you can go to Southern Africa, Western Africa, North Africa, but the only country that seems to be raising a generation that is aware, that is awake, that has awakened, that knows the time that we are living in, is the young generation in Kenya. And I have also gone ahead and announced that the generation of the young people in Kenya is the chosen generation that is going to bring forth the kingdom of God to the earth. They're the first people who are going to stand in the gap to bring forth the evidence and proof that the kingdom of God is now here. And at the same time, we also have claimed that the kingdom of God is now here on earth as it is in heaven. And many people may not believe that, but a sign of the covenant of that the kingdom of God is now here on earth is kuzaliwa taifa jipya la Kenya. So kuzaliwa taifa jipya la Kenya is the sign and the proof of the evidence of the witness to the nations of the earth to witness and claim for sure the kingdom of God is now here on earth. So Kenya is standing at a very important point that we cannot fail. The young generation, I want to encourage you, your quest for the promise of our land that was given to us after being taken by the colonial government and then returned to us, and the fruits of our independence that have been deferred for long, you are not going to miss it. You're going to be the first to experience that promise of our fathers through the arrival of the kingdom of God in Kenya. So, what do I mean by this? Okay, you will have to go and tell your political leaders who are buying for office, any leader in Kenya who want to work for the next government, any government official who thinks that they will serve in the next government that is coming to Kenya, they must be notified that it shall not be as business as usual. It shall not be just like any other time whereby you enter into office and you do what you want. It will be a time by, if you are elected to enter that office, first of all, you'll have to qualify that you understand the covenant of the promise of God to the earth and the kingdom and the rule of God on the earth. And those who will not have sought that, they will have a very hard time. Most of them will have to leave those offices. Most of them will have to evict and leave. But for those who will enter through Mamlaka ya Messiah, such that all the leaders will be serving in the government in Kenya under another authority that is not the authority of the executive, parliament, or judiciary, all those institutions will be under the mandate and authority and instruction must be obeyed. The kingdom of God now rules the earth, beginning in Kenya. Starting in Kenya, the kingdom of God now rules the earth. So even the nations that are fighting that by conquest, there are seen nations that are uprooting people, sacrificing lives and blood. There are nations which they say they have chariots of war and horses, and by conquest and occupation, they can form nations. Those nations are going to be uprooted. They're going to be eliminated. They are going to be reset so that their rising will be according to the kingdom of God is now here. So the kingdoms of the earth will rise and fall. Nations will rise against each other as it is already happening. But the reason why nations are rising against each other is because the time of their demise and dismantling has come, and most nations and authorities in the government are going to become very paranoid. nations will be shaken. Now the nations are shaken. You know why the nations are rising against each other? Because the mandate of power and authority that they used to hold is winning, is going away. And now they are thinking it is because of the oil and the resources in that country. If we were having that, we would not collapse. But their collapse is imminent and is now here and must happen and be replaced by the government of the kingdom of God on the earth. So armies and chariots will not do anything. I would like to give you an alert if you are a celebrant of all those nations that have armies, they have lethal weapons, they know how to conquer, uproot, and occupy, as there have been their way of establishing nations and kingdom, it shall no longer be. They are going to beg, they are going to kneel down, they are going to have to look for other means. And if their means of establishing a kingdom or an empire is not by the covenant of the promise of God, if it is by armies and conquest and occupation, those nations are going to be uprooted. They're going to be uprooted, no matter what their God is. Even those who claim that the God of Israel has told us to conquer and uproot and occupy, those nations whose mission is to conquer, uproot, and occupy, their time is up. Announcement. Those nations whose power of existence and occupation is by conquest and war, their time is up. They are finished. They are struggling to maintain credibility. They will struggle and start along until they are reset to the mandate of the world order of the kingdom of God. So the new world order which they want to bring on shall not suffice until the kingdom of God is established. The government format that Kenya has been used to we do elections and then the parliament and then that system that you have seen we are having, that system is finished. It is over. Come 2027, we're going to have a new dispensation. We're going to have a new era because Kenya is the first nation to obtain and to enter kuzaliwa taifa jipya la Kenya, which is the system of the kingdom of God is now here on the earth as it is in heaven. So you are running to go to nations because they have here they are rich, they have resources. You're not going anywhere. And then to alert you, the event of wars, like now the war that is taking place in the Middle East, the Gulf. The reason why those nations are fighting is because they want to rule the earth and control the earth resources. And the secret to rule the earth and control the earth resources is by the promise of the covenant of the promise of God only. And the covenant of the promise of God, which is in the ark of the covenant, has arrived in Kenya. So that which those nations are fighting to obtain in order to rule the earth is already in Kenya, is with us now, here in Kenya. So if you are watching the events of the New World Order and you think that Middle East will set the pace, Kenya will set the pace for the New World Order. Beginning now, it's already taken pace. The end time revival has already sparked. It's picking speed and it is going on. And it's going to envelop the entire earth. So if you are looking for the future of the New World Order and how the order of the world will exist, don't concentrate on what is happening in the Middle East. If you're concentrating on what is happening in Europe, what is going to be happening in China with Taiwan, what is going to be happening with America and Canada and Greenland and Cuba and Latin America, that is not the zone of watching. The Zion where he returns and land is not those places, neither Jerusalem. It's in Kenya. Kenya is the nation of God. Kenya is the nation that was chosen before time began to be the nation that will receive the third temple, the Gentile nation that will receive the third temple. And we'll be sharing the orders of all those religious leaders in Kenya, all those government leaders in Kenya, starting from the highest, will be receiving orders, laws to obey from desk. Mamlaka ya Mesaya, ufalme wa Mungu umefika sasa hapa Kenya.